me, Kim Wilson. I believe love wins. I've been married to my amazing husband for over 14 years. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. My parents did a wonderful job of loving me. I am the youngest of 3 siblings. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. My favorite food are buffalo wings. If there's no blue cheese, go ahead and suspend that whole transaction. Honey, I gotta have the blue cheese. Professionally, I am a licensed professional counselor in private practice. I am also a podcaster and motivational speaker. Oh yes, we're all more than just one thing at any given time. I love inspiring the masses. It's my purpose. I use my education in human behavior to facilitate dynamic workshops and live events about building healthy relationships. I am the creator of I Need a Session, which is a YouTube show and ebook. My favorite word is amazing. It's better than average and okay. My motto is, why settle for okay when amazing is an option? Happy Thursday! Oh, thank you for joining me. Boy, oh boy, do I have a show lined up for you. You all have sent in your questions and you did it fairly quickly. So thank you for that. So just a quick announcement. I do have a special event coming up this Saturday for women. It's a women empowerment event called Becoming Us. The US stands for United Sisters. Every human being passes through the body of a woman. So the women-based relationships are very important. I love to see women support one another, love one another, accept one another, affirm, validate one another. And that's what this luncheon is all about. When you come on Saturday, you will not be disappointed. You're going to get a wonderful keynote speaker, April Ross. I just love her story. You're going to get an inspirational dancer, a powerful poetry delivery by the voiceover natural, and a special musical presentation. You don't want to miss this. And the person who's doing our musical presentation is Sanaya Elise. She competed on American Idol. So I'm so excited about all there is to come. So tonight's topic is turning breakups into breakthroughs. I personally believe that every breakup is a breakthrough. Every relationship teaches you something about you. In order to get those lessons, you have to pay attention. You have to use self-awareness to figure out what that is. I don't think any relationship can just leave a person completely broken. The buildup can happen when we are open to that process, that experience, that transformation, that change. So one of the first things is anytime we experience a breakup, it can feel like it can be a loss or a separation. A breakup doesn't have to be the termination of a marriage, a romantic relationship. You can lose your job and it can feel just like a breakup. It can feel traumatic because something has been removed. And one of the reasons why I'm passionate about breakups turning into breakthroughs, because during my time, my experience as a counselor, I meet a lot of people who have gotten stuck after a breakup. Somebody who may have been with a company for 15 years and they were let go, laid off, or terminated, and they lost their sense of self. And the reason why that happened was because so much of their identity was tied into that work relationship. They didn't know who they were outside. They didn't know who they was outside of that role as an employee for that company. When you think about it, a lot of times when we are in the work cycle, we spend a huge part of our day thinking about what somebody else wants. When we work for somebody, what they need, we are problem solving for them. We are hired to solve a problem, to think about somebody else's problem. And when we are not intentional about thinking about our own wants and needs after that workday is over, we're not used to doing that. When all that leaves, we're left to ourselves. And it's like, ooh, who's this person? Hello, you. I haven't met you in a long time. And that can be pretty scary. So one of the ways right off the bat, we turn is it bat or back? Oh my gosh. One of the ways we create that transformation going from a breakup to a breakthrough is getting back to us, getting to know, discovering what we like, what we dislike, understanding our story as a human being, understanding your story as a daughter, a son. Everybody is a daughter or a son. We may not have brothers and sisters, but you are a daughter and you are a son. So just understanding your place in this world, we start there. And even if we're leaving a relationship, whether it's a professional relationship or a work relationship, what did that teach us about us? So I have a lot of questions. Let me get to one of the. Somebody sent me a question after the show last week. They watched it a day after, and they emailed me. And let me get to that first. Hold on. Okay. Kim, when you were reading the question about the employee who was late to the Zoom meeting and didn't turn on their camera, you did a little laugh. Why did you do that laugh? I was like, I love it when people don't miss a beat. I was like, all right. So when I did that laugh, I thought about, I just had this image that came in my mind when the person didn't turn on that camera. It's like if we were in a traditional conference room having a meeting and the person sitting at the table had a brown paper bag over their head. So do I have a brown paper bag? Is there a brown paper bag in there? Bring me a brown paper bag. So that's what it looks like for me. So if the expectation, now everybody is having Zoom meetings these days, right? So if the expectation is for the employee to show up and turn cameras on, hey, listen, I'm at turn cameras on. If there's not a policy around that and people are pretty relaxed about it and nobody cares, that's one thing. Now, so if you show up, if the expectation is to come to the meeting on Zoom and turn on your camera, this how it looks if you decide not to turn on your camera. That wasn't that's how it looks when you don't turn. If you got 40 people on the call, everybody got their cameras turned on. It's like, oh, David, you're not engaging today. That's what that looks like, just so you know. So that's why I laughed. I had that image in my head. All right, so here are one of my first questions. Can two people who are once together still be mutual friends after a breakup? Well, yes, absolutely. I think that's possible when we are healthy and well enough emotionally, and I personally feel like we should be able to walk away from all relationships like, thank you for adding to my life. It doesn't have to be, I hate you, I want to slash your tires. I get a little excited. The phone fell again, just like last week. Just gonna come out of the shop for a second and pick that up. So it doesn't have to be that. And I think when we are in a place to let go, we can do that. A lot of times what people struggle with after the breakup is letting go. And even letting go of the rejection, because there's a message in the brain that says, well, something wasn't good enough about me, and we're holding on to those thoughts and those messages. Once we have let that go and we realize the relationship took its course, it is complete, you added to my life, I added to your life, yes, we can actually absolutely be friends. All right, here's another one. What are some ways to get over someone if you still love that person and still have strong feelings for that person? Come through. Yes. Well, let me just go ahead and tell you right here. You got to weaken the connection. That's, because what's going to happen is if you're holding on and the other person has moved on and you are giving them your time, you're not being intentional about investing in yourself, identifying some things that bring you joy. I know it hurts. I'm sure it stings because something has been removed, but you have to be intentional about putting something else in its place. That something else can be traveling. That something else can be learning a new hobby. That something else can be learning to paint, learning a new language. It can be volunteering. But the thing is, if you want to get over the person, if you don't weaken that connection, it's just like powering up a cell phone. The more you leave that the charger in the wall, is going to stay fully charged up, and your feelings will stay fully charged up if you continue to focus on that relationship and that person. What we focus on will grow. All right, so here's another question. How do a person, when the other partner have interest towards each other? How do a person when the other partner has interest towards each other? I'm not quite sure how to read what that person how to read that one. Let me come back to that one. All right. If you Yeah, let me come back to that one. How long does it take to get over a breakup? Uh, well, just like grief doesn't have an expiration date, for some people, they don't get over breakups. I believe in being intentional about getting over the breakup, having that breakup turn into a breakthrough. Breakups do not have to turn into breakdowns. Even if there is a breakdown, we can be intentional about the buildup, rebuilding, renewing, restoring. But as far as like how long does it take, the healing process for people are different. If an 80-year-old breaks their ankle, they're going to heal differently than a 22-year-old. So it just depends on different variables. So there's no set time about how long it should take to get over a breakup. How do you deal with a breakup? And that kind of goes to back to some of the things that I was saying earlier. Be intentional about focusing on your growth, your renewal. um yes, we acknowledge the pain, we acknowledge that something has been removed. A lot of times, just like I said, even with the person who may have been terminated from a job, that was their life for 15 years. They worked overtime. They spent the job felt like their life. It was tied to their identity. And sometimes when we partner with somebody, our identity can become intertwined with theirs, because sometimes we may disconnect from our family and friends and stop having those meaningful relationships. Be intentional about developing meaningful relationships. And if that does not exist, finding support groups to be a part of. Um, uh, Anything that you have an interest in, there's an organization for just about everything these days, from choosing the correct yarn color if you are somebody who crochets, to even waste management. There's an organization for everything. So wherever you find community, you find relationships inside of those communities. So that's one of the ways that we can manage that. All right, so we got some really great questions. I love it. Okay. What positives can I take from this experience? Well, I'm thinking the person mean like, well, if you're saying what from the breakup experience, if that's what they mean, um, you take a look at what went really well. You take a look at what were the challenges. You take a look at what changed about you, and you turn those into lessons, even if it's just one lesson. And that's how you learn from any experience, especially a breakup. All right. Okay. Okay. How does a person know when the other partner no longer have interest in him or her, or no longer is attracted to them anymore? Oh, that's easy. um, okay, the best way, let me just give you a quick story first, okay? Let me lay this down first. And this is what comes to my mind. And so a couple of years ago, um our heat went out, and it took about 2 days to get on the schedule for the repair for the company, because it was a busy time for of the season. And so in the meantime, until the person came to fix our heater, my husband went to the store and bought a portable heater. And I remember him taking that heater out the box and positioning it so nicely on a little table, and just even took a little cloth to wipe it off and everything, because a little dust got on it while in that box, I guess. And um after the people came to fix the heater, I remember him putting that heater on the floor, and at some point the heater fell over. And I kind of watched him for a day or two, and I realized, that heater is kicked over on his back, and like his feet was up like that. And Instead of him picking that heater up and putting it in the corner, he would just step over it. I was like, well, wait a minute. Why is he just stepping over the heater? Why won't he just pick it up and put it in the corner? You want to know why? Because he no longer had any interest in the heater. He didn't need that heat. He didn't need anything from it. He got what he wanted. So that's how you know people, they will move on, ignore you. That's how you know they don't have interest. They got what they wanted. They moved on to the next thing. Yeah, so just like the way he stepped over that heater. Hi, UC girl. Thank you for joining. Yeah. And the other thing is behavior tells a story. And I like to use this other example all the time. My sister and I, when we were a little girl, we used to pick a flower from the yard, and and if we wanted to know whether a boy liked us or not, we would start picking the petals from that flower. He loves me, he loves me not. He loves me, he loves me not. And the last petal was to determine if he loved me. Honey, please. Here's what I discovered as an adult. It's not going to be the answer is not going to be in the last petal. It's going to be he shows me not. As my third grade teacher, Miss Laus, used to say, actions speak louder than words. That's how you're going to know. All right. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Got a couple more. Why does it seem like men move on after a breakup faster than women? I love, I love that question. And that kind of goes back to a previous answer. The reason why is they find something else to focus on. So their interest in something else is growing. Their passion in something else is growing because they are focusing on something else. They have now found a solution that they're focusing on. Meanwhile, many times women, they are focusing on the problem, the past, what used to be, what we had. And if you're focusing on something that's no longer, that does not have life, it's not going to leave you feeling um passionate, feeling alive, feeling motivated, because you're focusing on something where life has left. The relationship is complete, it's dead, it's no longer living. And so when women are focusing on that, when men, if they're hanging out with their buddies, they are dating, they're talking to new people, they've moved on. That's why they move on much faster than women. And there's a lot of research that suggests that. The other thing is um um and they call them initiators, non-initiators in research. When the person initiates a breakup, they've had more time to just even process or even grieve that relationship, because they've known in their mind that they were going to do that. And so by the time it hits the other person, it feels like a shock. It's like, what? But the person who initiated the breakup, they've already had time to process that, which makes it much easier for them to move on as well, especially when it's a guy. And there's been a lot of research around. A lot of men have said they don't need closure. Women want to talk it out. Well, why? Well, what was wrong with me? What didn't I do? It's not about what was wrong with you. It's a lot of times it's not about all of that. If the needs or wants are not being met, and we personalize that a lot of time. Listen, I'm a human being too. It's validating to know that you're still wanted by a person. But if the person's interest has changed, it's not always personal. It's just in and just to kind of make it a simple analogy. Um, Today I may have wanted Italian food. And if I eat that Italian food 3 days in a row, I'm like, oh, that was good. Goody. Well, honey, Sunday may come. Listen, don't bring that pasta over here. Listen. Give me some seafood on the table. That's that. Okay, we got a couple of more. Any thoughts on how to let go and forgive myself after a relationship breakup? Ah, yes. Um, I really like using the word forgive, because a lot of times we will blame ourselves. Pay attention to the self blame and that self judgment that go on. Like, well, what could I have done different? Why didn't it work out? And just really, instead of forgiveness, yes, I want to put acceptance right along with that. Accepting that the relationship is complete, accepting the things that you can change, and accepting the things that you cannot change. You cannot make anybody love you. Um, I recommend self-love and focusing and thinking about ways to love yourself more, what that looks like. And self-love can be a very tough topic for people because it's like, well, how do I do that? I hear people talking about that all the time. What is that? Well, it starts with the conversation in the mind. We think people are mean to us, but sometimes we're downright brutal. Picking ourselves apart, tearing ourselves apart. I'm not enough. Nobody wants me. It's not going to happen. It's too late. Listen, honey, chin up, shoulders back. um being able to look in the mirror and just love you and accept you. I tell anybody any given day, listen, I cannot snap my fingers and lose not even 3 pounds right now. But everything I got going on right now, this is my round body. Everything works and nothing hurts. You know, I don't want you to take not a single body part off this body. No, so somebody say, well, hey, Kimmy, you have a problem with your round body today? I tell you what, give up those thighs. No, thank you. They work. I'll take them. And so part of that forgiveness is disconnecting from the blame and the anger, because whenever forgiveness needs to be picked up, we are for releasing something. All right. um how soon should I move on and start dating after breaking up with someone? Well, I think you should move on as soon as you're ready. And what that I feel like that's going to be different for everybody. Some people are ready to, these days it's different. It's even different than what it was 25 years ago. I have a lot of clients that I have had a lot of clients, especially over the past 2 years. They have a breakup and they are on the dating app the next day. Well, I guess I better start looking. It's like that whole the dating culture with the dating apps are just um it's so interesting because it's like, well, I better go shopping. And I gotta say, the whole concept of the dating app, people feel different ways about it. Um, if I was single, I would not be opposed to it. So even if I felt like I was ready, if I'm able to just start browsing profiles and I don't feel triggered in any way, in my mind, I'm ready. So it's just whenever you feel like you can do that without carrying a lot of baggage. You certainly want to make sure you've unpacked those bags and dealt with some of those issues. All right, so do we have one more? Let me see. Hold on here. Okay. Okay. All right. Yep. All right. That's it. Those are all of our questions. I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. Just another reminder, my event is coming up on Saturday, Becoming Us United Sisters. I have 2 free tickets to give away. Anybody who can email me by tomorrow at 4 p.m. So you can send me a message on Facebook Messenger, because some people don't watch the show until after it airs. So let me give it to 6 p.m. tomorrow. So the first 2 people to email me by 6 p.m. tomorrow, I got 2 tickets for you. So you can send me a message on Facebook. You can DM me on Instagram, or you can go to my website and send me an email. So just to make it easier for you, I can give you that email right now. Um, Gosh, I forgot the email tomorrow show. Listen, go to www.kimwilsonspeaks.com and hit the contact button, and just email me. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me this Thursday. Like I said before, you could have been anywhere in this world, but you chose to rock and roll with me, and I don't take that lightly. If anybody has not told you today, let me be the first to tell you, you are amazing. See you next Thursday. Onward and upward.